everyone, Jessica here for IELTS Energy TV. Guys, on this episode, you are going to hear me interview a teacher from Japan named Richard. Richard has been teaching English in Japan for 20 years. So guys, he has a lot of experience helping students improve their English when they are not immersed in the language. So guys, listen up today and find out how his three specific tips, these three specific activities will help you improve your English and your IELTS skills no matter where you live. All right, guys, go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz to get your free IELTS band score and free resources as well. Now, guys, let's get to the show. Hello, IELTS Energy listeners. We have a very special guest today, a new voice on the show, an expert language coach who has been working in Japan for a very long time. Richard, welcome to IELTS Energy.
Hello, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So, Richard, you are going to talk to us today about speaking, but
yes,
for a definite type of student, who are we trying to get a message to today?
Or maybe students that don't have never had an idea or don't have an idea about learning English, or have never been exposed to English.
Sure.
And for the first time trying to maybe want to learn and get better at English, but are just starting out. Yeah.
I think these tips, though, yes, they are fantastic if you are starting your language journey. But honestly, I think all of these tips would help students of every level.
Yes.
And these are specifically for students who feel like it is impossible to improve my English because I don't have English around me, right?
Exactly.
But for our IELTS students, guys, you don't have a choice. You have to improve your English no matter where you are. So, Richard, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into teaching?
Yeah, it's interesting. I before I came to Japan, I thought about maybe I could teach theater, I thought, and back in the States. And then I was just curious about, maybe I should come to Japan and just get some kind of teaching experience, under my belt. And I thought, so I came, and that was 20 years ago. I'm still here. Haven't left. So
I love it. So you've been teaching English in Japan for 20 years.
Yes, 20 years.
Okay.
And for all kinds, from elementary children to adults, the whole gamut of, age and levels, actually. So
what do you like about teaching English to adults, specifically where you are in Japan? I mean, what brings you back, day after day, class after class? Like what keeps you interested in teaching?
Yeah, just seeing them learn and, in just watching them enjoy the process of learning.
Yes.
Even if they learn, a new word or learn about some new content, just see them, enjoy that and just enjoying the process of learning.
I love it.
Yeah. It's a process, it's, you gotta learn how to crawl before you walk, and before you run. It's just, it's a slow process, but just enjoying them, even learning anything, how to pronounce a word even, or, how to finally reply correctly, use a word correctly. I mean, it just, all of it together, it's just enjoyable, I think.
As a teacher, those light bulb moments, as we call them, right? Like seeing
seeing what happens to the students, everything, to their face, to their
Yeah,
feeling when they're like,
exactly,
oh,
exactly.
it makes sense.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I get it now. Okay, so guys, we are going to dive into these 3 tips for you. And just so you know, guys, if you are listening to this podcast, just the mere audio of the podcast, this is also on YouTube today, guys. So come over to IELTS Energy TV, see what Richard looks like, experience this in another way. And before we get to the tips, Richard, can you tell our students real quick, where can they find your material, which we will talk about? Where can
Um,
they find you online?
Great. You can watch my videos at 4B English, and we have many videos about learning English,
Mhm.
vocabulary, expressions. You can practice, your listening, natural speed, and you can practice, what is a person doing, can describe it in English, everything.
Yeah.
Everything's there for you to try to learn and learn something about English. So
It
come to
is
4B English.
It is a fantastic channel, guys. One of our IELTS students mentioned your channel. And so I watched a couple videos, and that's why you're here today, because there are so
Thank
many useful ways to improve your skills for IELTS, guys. Okay. And that's why we're here essentially. But IELTS is an English test, and you have to improve your English if you're going to get those scores you need. So let's get into this, Richard.
All
So,
right.
what is the first thing that students can do to improve their English, even if they are not in an English speaking country?
So one of the ways our channel is to practice our listening, and we have a series called "What is he saying?" or
Mm,
"What is she saying?" So this practices, the speeds, especially natural speed of speaking and listening. Actually, you try to understand what the person is saying in a
mhm,
really fast speed, and then we'll say it a few times in natural speed and even slow speed to see what he or she is saying. Then after that, we practice repeating it. So I think getting you used to listening at a natural speed is
mhm.
good, but as well as repeating after in a natural kind of actually slower in a medium speed and a faster speed.
Yeah,
So that way it's basically like shadowing, but a little bit faster. So, but it's good
exactly.
to get you used to learning. Actually, you get to learn a new expression, and you get to learn how it sounds in native speed, which is good
Mhm.
as well. So it's just all that
Yeah.
encompassed together.
All of that in one lesson. We have vocabulary, pronunciation, listening.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, guys, of course, this will help you on IELTS because you need to understand how natives speak at a normal pace. So, there's
Yeah.
that. And something I want to bring in from earlier that Richard said, you said you have to crawl before you can walk. You have to walk
Yeah.
before you can run. And this is the thing, guys. If especially if you're at the beginning of your IELTS journey, and you try to do a listening test and you can't understand anything, maybe section 1, you're like, yeah, this is okay. It's not too hard. But then by the time you get to section 4, your mind is blowing, you're exhausted, you've lost all confidence. Guys, we can't just jump in to a test like that. You have to improve your skills one at a time. So, those are the lessons, actually. Those are the videos, guys, that caught my eye the most when I was looking at the 4B YouTube channel. I love it. And guys, definitely check these lessons out on his YouTube channel. But you can do this as well with interviews with native speakers that you want to sound like this person. This is your idol in English, right? Maybe a singer or a politician. You could watch it. You can control the speeds. You could like start slow, mimic, right? Slowly build that up to the actual pace. I love it. Okay, what is the next tip, Richard?
All right. And next tip is connecting an action with the phrase. So we have another
Mm,
um, series called "Can you describe this?" And it's just watching a person doing something. For example, my latest video, I'm folding a towel.
Mhm.
And then, we take for granted that, oh, maybe everyone understands that, but not everyone understands simple things like folding a towel.
Yeah.
So we'll show the person or show myself folding a towel, for example, and we'll say, can you describe it? And then we'll show it, he's folding a towel. And then, so they understand, what that action is. It's kind of like, as you said earlier, virtual TPR, where you don't actually do it, but they can actually connect an action with, connect the phrase with an action.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we have all those videos. We have, simple actions like, I'm zipping up my jacket. What is he doing? He's zipping up a jacket.
Mhm.
But things like that we take for granted. It's just simple actions that English learners do not know actually. So
But
in that, yeah,
yeah. That is an excellent point,
yeah,
though. There is so much that falls between the cracks, right? In sort of
exactly.
traditional English curriculums, how everybody has learned English, but actually
Exactly.
not learned English. So
Yeah,
these verbs are great examples of that. I'm sure everyone knows, you guys know, like jacket, coat, sweater,
yeah,
like those. But
exactly.
what is, I could see, like, so I was an
What is he
examiner for a
saying?
long time, right? And a student would be trying to answer something about, maybe I asked them about clothes, what they like to
Exactly.
wear. And yeah, they would have to mime it because they don't
Yeah,
know that it's a verb, zipping, to
yeah,
zip something up.
exactly,
Totally. Same with
exactly.
like folding a towel.
Yeah,
Like even that verb sounds simple to us, but
exactly,
not a lot of students would know that that's what we call that, right?
exactly.
Yes, I love it. And just as a side note for IELTS students, one of the most difficult task 1 questions, describing processes.
All
And
right.
there are labels on there that maybe, guys, you don't know that vocabulary, and if you do, you just copy it because you don't know a paraphrase for that vocabulary. It's these actions that Richard is teaching you. These are the things that will come in very useful when you're describing processes, not just on the speaking test, but also on that task 1 writing. Okay, awesome. This is so useful, Richard. Thank you. All right.
You're
Tip
welcome.
number 3. What's the last idea today?
All right, the last one is just exposing yourself to English. So in
Hmm.
Japan, you're around a lot of Japanese speakers. It's hard to get yourself exposed to English. So you can listen to you know um, English broadcasts of BBC, for example, or
Mhm.
listen to your channel, your podcast, for example. I mean, there's lots of now every kind of platform is here, like Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah.
I mean, they got English content on there that they can watch, and news broadcasts. It's just to get your ears used to actually English, right?
Mhm.
And so if you expose yourself to that, and watch English movies and so on, and you just have to get yourself used to it. Because in this
Yeah.
environment, you won't find just Japanese speakers all around you. And
Sure.
how can you expose yourself to English all the time? I mean, when you're not sitting on a train, you can be listening to podcasts or broadcasts in English. Just to
Yeah.
get used to it. I mean, that's a good way. I think one of the ways.
Exactly. No, I love it. I mean, we say a lot on the show that learning English, studying for the exam, preparing to get a 7 or higher, is a part-time job. Right? Like, right? You do have to be intentional about it, right? So use the time you have and
Exactly.
fill that with English, your commute while you're doing chores. I
Exactly.
can't tell you the number of podcasts I go through every day just walking my dogs and cooking. Like I'm always listening to podcasts. Do you have any favorite podcasts that you want to recommend?
Well, actually, I I don't really listen to a lot, but I do recommend your podcast, of course. I don't really follow any podcasts. I just listen to basically, I mean, personally, just sports podcasts.
Okay.
But yeah, but I just I think English learning podcasts like yours is good as well. But 4B doesn't have a podcast, so if I did, I'd say come listen. But I don't really listen to any podcasts. But I think,
That's okay.
yeah, I think for students, to listen to, to English podcasts is good, I think. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yes, definitely, for sure. But personally,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's
I can't
okay.
do
No
that.
problem. We don't have time to do everything, right? And maybe, if podcasts aren't for you, there's TV shows, there's movies.
Exactly,
I mean, you
exactly,
could just
exactly.
download these to your phone. So many streaming platforms now have downloadable content that you don't have to have a Wi-Fi connection. You don't have to use the data on your phone or whatever. Just download it and watch it on the train. Okay, so guys, all 3 tips today, learning these verbs for actions that often are missed out in textbooks, improving your listening, speaking, and vocabulary with that one lesson of mimicking, slowing down the speed, bringing it up to normal speed. And then finally, guys, surrounding yourself with English as much as possible. You can find lessons for all of these things on Richard's YouTube channel. One more time, Richard, where can our students find you?
Yes, at 4B English, it's separated. So 4B and then English. So you can find it
We
on YouTube. Yes.
Also, we'll put a link in our blog, guys, if you want
Yes,
to
thank you.
come back to allearsenglish.com/IELTS. All right, awesome. Richard, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
It was super fun. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.